Hello and welcome back to Green Money Momentum, where we talk about market movements, making money, and money momentum. I'm your host, Trevor, and we are here for yet another top 3 stocks for the month of. And this time it is for the month of June. So we are at the halfway point for the year. So if you've made it this far, congratulations, because for some, the volatility earlier in the year was very hard to stomach. But if you stayed invested in the markets, the rip up that we saw at the end of April and all through May was absolutely incredible. And this is why we invest into the markets, for these opportunities. So a lot of money made in May. And I believe going forward, there is still a lot of money to be made. And with that being said, we're going to talk about these 3 stocks that I see having a lot of potential coming up. So we're going to start out with a play that uses tech and AI, and they work alongside the government. A favorite on this channel, many know, BigBearAI. We're then going to hop into another favorite, DJT, and we're going to finish with a brand new stock that we have yet to talk about on this channel, and that is Clover Health. And so Clover Health uses AI alongside healthcare. So a very interesting stock. I've had my eyes on it for a while, and I have a small investment within Clover Health, but this is going to be the first time we talk about it. So with that being said, I want to say, as always, that this is not financial advice. I always recommend doing your own due diligence before making any financial decisions. So we're going to start out here with BigBearAI, and currently Big Bear finished the month strong. So on Friday we saw the Big Bear close at $4.16, and as we have been talking about here, in the short term we have been on this overall bullish trend upwards, and so we have been seeing higher highs set by the Big Bear. There will be a retraction when it reaches this resistance. It does get rejected, but then it comes back down to a higher low. And so this trend has been building up in the Big Bear. And what's really great to look at is the other indicators here. So the RSI, the relative strength index, and then also the MACD. So in the last month of May, of course, the markets have been flying. And with that being said, a lot of plays have really reached to high levels on the RSI. So a lot of plays right now are looking a bit overbought, but the Big Bear did not quite reach those levels. So still in the middle on the RSI, and then the MACD is showing that there is still positive price movements for the Big Bear. And so with the Big Bear on the short term, I have these 2 lines drawn out. Also, these are just to show the resistances in the Big Bear. And so the next major resistance level will be at 450, and then right after that will be around $5.10. And so with Big Bear, they may have a very hot start to the month, as on the first trading day of the month, so June 2nd on Monday, they are going to have their annual meeting of the stockholders. And this is going to be interesting because Big Bear is going to have a lot to talk about here at this meeting. I'm hoping that they discuss the lawsuits going on or come out with a big catalyst for the future, maybe some improved guidance. And the reason why we are bullish on the Big Bear is because when we look at this stock over their history, they have some strong revenues. We could see that they have revenue earnings as high as 40 million each quarter, and they still have a relatively low market cap at just 1.2 billion. And this company's still in some debt, still losing some money. So a negative price to earnings ratio and a negative earnings per share. But this may be changing in the very near future, as Big Bear this last year, as anybody who has followed the storyline knows, they have picked up a lot more government contracts, and they do have a new CEO that has a lot of ties back to the president. And so BigBearAI, very favorable to gain more government contracts. And overall, when we do look at the volume going in the Big Bear, there's a lot of anticipation and hype, as we could see that as of most recently, the volume has started to pop again in the Big Bear. And not only that, but we have this big catalyst here. So we could see that there is a total of 291 million shares outstanding. And out of that 291 million shares, there is 60 million of them shorted, representing earning a short interest of 21%. The reason why this is significant is one of the stocks that we talked about last month for being a top 3 stock for the month of May. That was D-Wave Quantum, QBTS. That stock rose by more than 150%, and they had a very similar short interest. So QBTS had a short interest of 20% plus, and anytime you see a short interest in the double digits, that means that this stock is heavily shorted. And so with the shorts, if there is positive movements in the market and in Big Bear, the shorts seriously start to get squeezed, and that's where we could see a bit of a squeeze in the price as well. So again, when we just return to the technical analysis on Big Bear, we could see that earlier in the year we were all the way up to $10 plus, and currently we are trading at $4.16. So just to the upside of what was the 52-week high. That is a more than 50% return in the Big Bear. And again, Big Bear is a real company with real value. And if you are investing into this play, you are investing into the future, because again, they do currently have a negative price to earnings ratio and a negative earnings per share, but they do earn a lot of revenue and they have been paying a lot of their debt off. So currently this company not profitable, but they are working towards profitability with big customers like the United States government. And many compare this stock to Palantir, because we know Palantir was in a similar spot just a couple years ago. Their financials were a bit better, but they were a smaller company, but they were doing the same thing, gaining a lot of big government contracts. It's just the government contracts weren't necessarily showing up into Palantir's earnings yet, and now they are. And we could see that this stock over just the past 5 years is up 1,300%. And so if you have participated into Palantir, congratulations. I have an average price on Palantir right around $30. So I have a 300% return on investment currently, and I am holding for the long term because Palantir is only continuing to gain value, and we do see their CEO Alex Karp at the White House. And so many call Big Bear the little brother to Palantir. So Big Bear is still growing, but a lot of intrinsic value there. And then just like we're talking about Palantir at the White House, well, Big Bear, you know, they provide a lot of defense. So they're all in the airports, and then also they have contracts around the Border Patrol and all that. So currently also Big Bear does have a market cap of 1.2 billion again, so a small market cap stock. So all it's going to take is a little bit of money to make this stock run a lot. When you work with these small market cap stocks, and this is why we talk about them a lot, is because with the smaller market cap stocks, it doesn't take quite as much money to run up the stock as exponential amounts compared to bigger plays that are within the $1 trillion market cap range. And so with that being said, we're now going to hop into the president's stock. So we're talking all about the White House and the president. Well, this stock is DJT. So this is Trump's company right here, Trump Media and Technology Group. And so many of us have been following this stock on this channel for a while, and the price right now is sitting at $21.32. So as you can see, I have these two lines drawn out here. This is just to show the major support, which is in DJT. So right around $21 to $27 is what this stock has tapped multiple times over the course of its history. So we could see that this stock has traded a lot higher in the past, but each time it usually returned right back down to that $21 to $27 range. There was a few exceptions, like when we fell right before the elections, and then most recently when macroeconomic trends were bad. And then as of the most recent, we did draw down a little bit, but we did have a swift recovery on Friday. So we are tapping right back to $21. But what I find positive about this most recent retraction is it did help the relative strength index and the MACD come back down a little bit. So just like I was talking about with Big Bear, there are a lot of plays in the market right now that are sitting relatively high on the relative strength index. So they are looking a bit overvalued, but DJT and Big Bear still in some reasonable spots on those indicators. So $21, a pretty good spot to buy into DJT, especially again when we look at the technical indicators. The RSI is looking nice, the MACD is looking nice, and then again we are at a major support in this stock, so right around $21, a good price, especially for everything that is to come in DJT. So we have talked about how DJT is more than just a truth social platform. So they are more than just the Truth app, but they are also on streaming services as well. So they are on Roku television, and also more than anything, this company is shifting from just those Truth social platforms, but to being more of a banking service as well. So through the year, we have seen Trump push us more into the mass adoption into cryptocurrency. And this stock right here, this company, Trump Media and Technology Group, is doing a lot with cryptocurrency as well. So they have had some big crypto ETFs. And then as of most recently, this company is raising $2.3 billion to buy into Bitcoin. And so this is going to add Bitcoin to their balance sheet. And so this is going to be huge, because what this is saying is that Trump Media and Technology Group is going to add $2 billion to their balance sheet. And so this is similar to what Michael Saylor has done. So if you know about MicroStrategy, what this company's strategy is they buy Bitcoin, it adds onto their balance sheet. So as Bitcoin rises, so does their revenue. So Trump Media and Technology Group looking to do the exact same thing, which is a positive, because when we look at the earnings history of this company, historically not great. Revenues typically under $1 million, their biggest being Q3 of 2024 with $1 million. So the company hasn't been great historically when it comes to revenue, but having such a massive amount of Bitcoin on their balance sheet could definitely change that. And we could see a massive earnings report coming into DJT for the future. So just talking about dates coming up, they do have their big Q4 earnings in 13 days. So this is a date to look for here in June, but just being honest, I don't expect it to be a great earnings report, because historically their earnings haven't been great. And with DJT, we are investing into it similar to BigBearAI. We are investing into it for what the potential is in the future, because DJT is gaining value along the way, and they have done a lot just this last year. So they have started working again with Roku television and their streaming services, and they have a lot to do with their TruthFi as well. So their whole financial sector of this stock, and more than anything, the biggest thing for crypto bros and DJT going to be involved in crypto is Paul Atkins is the new SEC chairman. So a lot more bullish crypto chairman for the Securities and Exchange Commission. We know the old Securities and Exchange Commissioner Gary Gensler was awful. He was not the best when it came to a lot of stocks and cryptos. What he's most notably known for is putting the cryptocurrency XRP under lawsuit. So Paul Atkins, a lot different than that. And when we just follow the storyline again, we have the President Trump pushing us more into the mass adoption into cryptocurrency. We know there was the big crypto summit earlier in the year where they talked about having Bitcoin in the reserve. And overall, the company TMTG is adding a lot to their crypto reserves and everything they're doing with cryptocurrency. And so having a new SEC chairman is a lot more favorable for all of these events to happen, and they have just been being pieced together through time. So with Trump Media and Technology Group, as many of you know, I have been holding my shares in this company since September, and I haven't sold any of them. So I'm holding my shares for the long term, and that is again because of what I see happening in this company and the value I see over time. So I believe with DJT currently it is sitting at a low price, and as the markets continue to go forward, I do believe that cryptocurrency is going to rip as well as the rest of the markets, and DJT is going to be participating in these crypto movements. And so some are a little bit concerned because of this move here. They are going to raise some capital, so some dilution going in DJT, But as much as I talk about dilution on this channel and the fear that it brings with the dilution coming in DJT, I think it is just going to be a small dilution for the bigger returns that are going to be coming with the revenue from the Bitcoin on their balance sheet. So over the long term, I am very bullish on DJT. Any short-term fear, uncertainty, and doubt, such as been happening recently with the drawdown, it doesn't really concern me because, again, I am holding these shares for the term of Trump's presidency. And so with that being said, now we're going to hop into this stock that we have yet to talk about, but it has been on my watch list for a very long time, and I have a small position. So this stock right here is Clover Health. So I'm going to play this video here. This is a 3-minute clip basically explaining everything that Clover Health does.
About 7 in 10 Americans say that healthcare is broken.
That number has not budged in the last 25 years.
How do we fix healthcare so people pay less, have more choices, and get better care that leads to better lives?
We want to bring affordable healthcare to everyone in the United States, and it's about bringing it to every part of the country, which is why we focus on using technology to scale us. That's really what we want out of Medicare.
And so the next thing becomes, how do we afford that? Because if everyone can offer low costs and grow quickly, everyone would do it if they could do that profitably. And that's really driven by the Clover Assistant. The Clover Assistant's goal is to drive net improvement in decision-making for physicians. When a physician pulls up the Clover Assistant for their patient, our member, because the Clover Assistant is personalized for that physician, for that member, for that specific visit, we will present everything from misdiagnoses, machine learning suggested diagnoses, treatment planning suggestions, down to med regimen recommendation, dosage level recommendations, testing or diagnostic testing that's required.
Doctors can spend more productive time with patients because they aren't searching through medical records or duplicating tests. The information is all at their fingertips. They can focus less on the paperwork and more on the patient.
The way we built the technology is actually combining the data with the human interaction of a primary care physician and the patient, and together the information and the relationship is what really improves the outcomes.
80% of individuals in Medicare have at least one chronic condition. 68% of individuals have 2 or more chronic conditions. And when we think about what happens when chronic conditions exacerbate, they lead to hospital admissions, emergency room visits. That leads to skyrocketing costs. So as we improve decision-making, we're lowering downstream costs. At Clover, we built a true virtuous cycle. We start with really obvious plan design, wide choice for consumers, lowest cost. That's led to growth of membership with Clover. On the other side, we've deployed Clover Assistant, our point-of-care platform, down to thousands of primary care physicians. As our members see those primary care physicians, that feeds more data into Clover Assistant, allows us to make more and more intelligent suggestions to those physicians. That drives improved decision-making for their patients, our members. That in turn leads to lower costs, improved outcomes. We take those savings and feed it back to consumers in the form of even lower cost plans, improved benefits. We continually expand into more markets and bring that cycle to more and more markets.
So Clover's growth is intrinsically tied to this virtuous cycle among doctors and patients and the health plan that binds them.
Because of that groundbreaking difference, since 2013, we've been one of the fastest growing Medicare Advantage companies in the country, with a 38% annual growth rate compared to an 8% industry average. And we aim to bring the same disruptive business model to every corner of the country.
We've developed disruptive technology that enables us to drive systemic change on a nationwide scale. Instead of building narrow, closed provider networks, we build wide and open ones. Instead of using data to boost billing, we use it to empower physicians to do what they do best. Instead of excluding sick patients based on where they live or how much money they have, we're focused on making everyone healthier, regardless of their health, wealth, or geography.
So I love the way he put that, bringing this disruptive technology to all parts of the nation. And as you could see from Clover, what they say is they are increasing at a 38% compared to the industry average of 8%, while they are trying to bring costs down for the consumer and using AI technology for the data to bring the best results. Health, we could see that they are a growing company. They are adding a lot of intrinsic value to the healthcare industry, and we could see that as of most recently, their Q1 for 2025 was massive when it came to revenue compared to what they had in the previous quarters of 2024. So we could see through all of 2024, they did not reach up to 400 million revenue. So 2024 was kind of a down year for Clover, but their revenue is popping back up. And I believe that we will continue to see good revenue growth from Clover Health, because just as we saw with their Q1 looking great, well, they also did have good guidance for 2025. And I want to highlight this here. Their Medicare Advantage membership grew 30% year over year to 103,000 members. So a lot of members joining alongside Clover Health Industries, and not just the consumer, but also the investor as well. And we look at institutional investors, we could see that there has been a big increase as of most recently. So these numbers go off the end of March, and we could see that a lot of big companies have increased their share positions within Clover Health. So we could see Vanguard, we could see BlackRock, we could see Morgan Stanley, Citadel, and others. So some big institutions looking bullish on this AI healthcare stock. So when we just return to the technical analysis in Clover Health, right now we are sitting at $3.14. Just a year ago on this day, we were at $1. So this stock has jumped by 200% over the last year, up $2, but this stock does still present healthy growth opportunity for new investors. As when we look at the candlestick chart, we could see that we did have a higher 52-week high earlier in the year. We were around $4.80. That was set earlier in January. So through the year, there has been a bleed in Clover Health. And so the markets have been popping lately, but Clover Health did not have the rise alongside them. So just like we were talking about Big Bear and DJT and the relative strength index, this is another stock that is sitting closer to a level of being oversold than overbought, same as on the MACD. So currently the orange is over the blue. So at some time this year, I do expect a turnaround in the share price with Clover Health, as again, when we just look at everything this industry provides, they are providing disruptive technology to the medical industry, and they are lowering costs for consumers. So over time, this company is only going to continue to grow and expand. And so while Clover Health is at the low price of $3.14, this is where I am starting my positions for the long term. I already have a small position in Clover Health, but I am looking to add even more in the near term. So we are on a bit of a downtrend. It is hard to fight a downtrend. You know, we can never perfectly pick the low. Usually it could be very hard to do. So with Clover Health, I am just adding slowly dollar cost averaging into this position. I could possibly see us dropping right under $3. And if that were to happen, I would consider that to be a blessing. But over the long term, I do expect a lot with Clover Health, especially again when we return to their earnings. This is a growing company. They have yet to have a quarterly revenue in the billions. So they've gotten close, but not quite there yet. So I do believe they will have a billion revenue in the future. And this is a small market cap stock. So when we look at their market cap relatively small, still at 1.5 billion. So a lot of growth opportunity. And as we have seen here, Clover Health is growing. They've made some significant steps forward in just the last 10 years. And as we saw in just the last year, they have had 30% year over year growth when it comes to members joining onto their Advantage program. And so I feel most Americans would feel this way. If you could get a cheaper alternative to healthcare, and if it could provide better results, why would you not do that? And that is exactly what Clover Health is presenting here. And this company, again, has yet to see a quarterly up to $1 billion. So still a growing company, and they are growing faster than the rest of the healthcare industry. So the average is 8%. They are at 30. So I am very bullish over Clover Health for the long term, as I am with the other stocks that we talked about here, BigBearAI and DJT. But I would be curious to hear what everyone else thinks about these stocks in the comments section below, if you're bullish or bearish, or if there are any other stocks that you are eyeing for this month of June. So please drop a comment in the section below. Please leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already done so. Thank you guys all so much, and I'll see you in the next video.